Hmm. Hello, everyone. Yes, apologies if you've noticed that I have been filming a lot in this room, but I'm sort of moving about. It always seems to be that because I'm busy during the day, I tend to film at night. And of course, I'm trying to get the best lighting in here. Yes, I know some people will say, well, if you're trying to take this seriously, why don't you buy some proper lights? I'm not trying to be a professional YouTuber. I'm doing this firstly for myself, but also I do know that you guys who have been watching these videos really enjoy this, so that's the reason why. And I must admit, I think actually this is probably actually quite a good angle. And that, yeah, funny enough, because I'm right underneath a light. I should have thought of this sooner. And that, and that. So, anyway, here we all are again, here to talk about, and I can't believe I'm already talking about this, but of course by the time that you guys would have seen this video, you'll think, well, what does she mean? Like, well, I suppose I can admit it to you guys now at this point. I'd filmed 1, 2 and 3 back in lockdown, but for some reason, and believe me, I seriously do not know about this, because I know the reason why some of my earlier videos that I have been remaking used to end up in that letterbox. It's because I used to film it the other way. But I really don't understand why tattoo number 2, all about tattoo number 2 and 3, turned out in that letterbox style, because I filmed it in landscape mode and I filmed it on the exact same thing that I filmed the first one on. Since then, from when you would have first seen those, which was about mid-October, if I remember correctly, maybe third week of October. I think it was about, yeah, about the maybe 19th, 20th. I'd have to look back on it, but I think it was about then. Of course, by now, by the time you see this, this is close to Christmas, if I recall, because of course, what I've done is once I get into a project, I like, oh, can I do another one, if you know what I mean? So I filmed my later ones. I have been filming them quite regularly, not literally every single day, or I think I did one, I think I may have done 2 in one evening, but on that, I hope you don't mind me rambling on about this, because after all, you should be here for this tattoo. But anyway, I think you seem to be enjoying these sort of rambly videos and that. And so no, I haven't filmed all of them all in one night. I mean, that'd be completely ridiculous, but I have sort of filmed them pretty quickly, you know, maybe, I don't know, done one maybe every few days or whatever. And then what I've done is, luckily I haven't needed to edit them that much, or I seem to be getting pretty good that if I have to, if I know I'm sort of going off kilter, I'll just pause this video and I'll just stop. So that's also helping as well. Although apologies for the last 2 videos. I seriously can't understand why those 2 were so long, because I don't think I was going off course like this. I do apologize again. I am coming to my 10th tattoo shortly. But yeah, basically I have filmed those quite ahead, but because I don't want to literally, you know, just glutton you all with a whole load, you know, I want to keep my channel sort of going. And that, what I've done is I've filmed all of these. I mean, today is only the 20th of October. So yeah, I think my first video might have gone up, funny enough, today. So yes, so by the time you see this, this will be in, yeah, I think it's close to Christmas or not far off Christmas and all of that lot. So I hope you've been enjoying all of these. So anyway, so tattoo number 10. So in case you're also wondering when all of this was, blah blah blah, well, I don't have to rewind that much. We are now up to date in 2021 and that. And remember I told you that this one all kind of tied in with my Care Bear because of that whole situation with the Care Bear artist, if you may recall. Yes, this so first and foremost, this tattoo is my martial art tattoo, and that I would get up and show you, but the thing is, it's in rather an awkward area, and I have got this camera set up, so I'll insert a photo now. So yeah, as you can see from that photograph, yes, it's on my, I don't know why I thought it was on my left leg for some reason. No, it is on my right leg, and it's on my well, I think you could see it was on my inner ankle, right next to my liver bird tattoo actually. And that, and first and foremost, let's change this up a little. Pain, yeah, this was the beginning of a lot. It did seem like I was getting a lot of lower leg tattoos. I mean, I didn't even think of it, but yeah, I had the liver bird done early August, then I had the Care Bear done in the September, and then of course I had the big gap because of course hello, the UK had a, you know, almost, I say almost, had like 2 lockdowns almost back to back. But anyway, you don't want to know about the whole pandemic in this video. And that, and then I got this one, and then of course I got my next video, which is pretty much a mirror image of this on my left ankle. And that, and fingers crossed if you saw it. I mean, I know you probably wouldn't be able to read it or anything, but as you can see, it's a black, translucent black martial art belt with Elvish writing. Must admit, it definitely is a lot more, you definitely can recognize it more as Elvish than this. I mean, I think you can tell this is Elvish, particularly with like the way this J is written and all of that lot. But I did notice that when I got the translation of it, I thought, oh, that definitely does look a lot more Elvish. Looks a lot more like, almost like what the ring almost looks like, although that's not Elvish, of course, which is a bit weird. I know. Anyway, and that, and nah, I'm not going to say it again. You know, all of my tattoos are personal, and you know that they've all got stories behind them. But yeah, this one kind of makes me laugh now because at the beginning of this process for this tattoo, I don't know if it was, I don't think it was grief. Yes, that's going to give you a clue for this already. Or if it was just denial. I mean, I'm not in denial like I was when I first got it, but I don't even know what you'd call it. But essentially, I got this tattoo, I almost want to say it as a consequence of something that happened, as in the fact that I lost someone. But I don't even like to say, yeah, it's the consequence of this. And okay, just go completely back to the beginning here. In 2008, for more than 4 years it was, I actually did do a martial art. Actually, at one point I did 2. But I suppose the one that I think I probably would have stuck to for life if I'd been able to, I unfortunately had to quit Aikido. I never liked that word quit. It just sounds horrible, but I suppose that is essentially what it is. Or I had to give it up because unfortunately, yeah, funny enough, yeah, I started suffering from a really bad health condition that I still suffer from to this day. Yes, and I've been suffering from it since March 2012, so I've had this for nearly 10 years now, although at the time when it first started it wasn't that bad, but unfortunately it got worse, and I stupidly, I didn't think much of it and I didn't report it straight away. And yeah, all I'm going to say is it affects a lot of aspects of my life now, but I have sort of learned to live with it. But unfortunately, martial arts was just something that I just couldn't carry on with it. But I suppose in a way I haven't lost it completely, although who knows if and when I'll be able to go and watch it again, what with the pandemic and everything. God, this stupid COVID. And that, but basically, after I had to give it up, I still continued to be a role in it. We have a Facebook page for our Aikido group, and whenever we used to have courses for big teachers or senseis that used to come over, I used to be like one of them that used to publicize it in all the Facebook groups. And when the courses would come around, I would go to these events, and whenever the teacher was demonstrating the technique that they wanted us to do, I would film it, and I was able to put those up on our Facebook group. And there was one teacher in particular that I had the pleasure of being a student of his, and then later on went on to film him, and did require quite a lot of footage of his great teachings. And that was Sensei Donovan Waite, Shihan 7th Dan Aikidoka. I mean, I don't think he'd ever like praise beyond belief, but all I'm going to say is he got his first black belt at age 14. He became a 7th Dan, travelled all over the world, taught absolutely, I don't even know how many students. I mean, he has touched so many people's lives and all of that lot and everything. And he was like our technical director under our federation, so he used to come over to us every year and all of that lot. And he was, yeah, and he was just such a great teacher. And as you can imagine, all bolt out of the blue, I get a message on I think it was February the 20th or the 21st. The tricky thing is we didn't find out straight away because he lived in Philadelphia. You see that tragically, bolt out of the blue, only 63, yeah, literally that young. And he literally had just died like that. And as you can imagine, that was just, yeah, it was my own personal teacher that messaged me, you know, saying, could you put an appropriate message out on the Facebook page to let everyone else know, and that. And I was just so shocked by it. I mean, as you can imagine, that was funny enough during the middle of our our third lockdown. Some of us were already in lockdown in certain sections in the UK as of Boxing Day. Some of us had been there even sooner than that. But essentially, we went into lockdown in January and we didn't come out until April. So essentially, we were only halfway through this. And it was a really, really cold winter too. So it felt as if it was the bleakest time ever at that time of year. So, of course, I did do that and everything. But I so remember how upset I was. And even now, you know, if I see a photograph of him, I'm just so surprised. Before you ask, so yes, the immediate thing we all asked is, was it COVID? As far as we know, and this is the thing that I don't want to do conspiracy theories on these, and I have just realised, seriously, I think this could be the longest video, but this does need to be said when it comes to this tattoo. And that apparently a couple of other fit male members of his family had died quite young and died unexpectedly. So I don't want anyone to start thinking, oh my God, is there conspiracy theories on this? I only know this because I was fortunate enough, or our community was fortunate enough, that someone, I think from his club or something, had set up an open Zoom, and we were actually able to watch his funeral on Zoom from Philadelphia. So I only know this from this, so this is definitely true. But I do wonder if whether or not there is something that maybe is in their family that does need to be investigated, because yeah, it was just so sudden, if you know what I mean. And he was as fit and as healthy as ever, as far as I know, even though he was, you know, frustrated that he couldn't train and teach and all that lot because of the whole thing after all. But But when that happened, I don't mean a light bulb moment went off in my head like I've had ideas in the past, but it kind of went off in my head because for a while now, and bearing in mind this is 2021 and I've been getting tattooed for 2 years by this point. So, I've had lots of ideas that I don't even know if I still will get in the future, or I've had some ideas and I've thought for a while and then I've dismissed them, if you know what I mean. And I've often had the idea of martial arts, particularly Aikido, it was an integral part of your life and it always will be part of your life. Even now, you might not be an active Aikidoka, but it will always be a part of you. And I had mulled over, should I get something like a tattoo, something martial art related to sort of commemorate or whatever that. But I always thought, I don't know, is it the right thing to do? Is it the right time? All sorts like that. And then after this happened, this is what I mean. I don't like calling this a memorial tattoo to Sensei Wait, but I suppose in a funny kind of way, it sort of is. But I remember when, I don't even know if it was before the funeral, it might have been after the funeral. I know his funeral was March 5th, so it was literally a couple of weeks afterwards. So it might have been afterwards, I think. And I suddenly went back to when I actually first met him. Now, funny enough, that's the other thing that's funny. He almost died. I think it was only about 8 or 9 days before my actual anniversary of when I officially did my first official class with Aikido, which was on leap year day of 2008. And then in the middle of September that year, our club was celebrating our 10th anniversary. And our sensei had been planning this for a couple of years, where he managed to get over Sensei Wait's old school teacher. He's like the head of our United States Aikido Federation. He actually trained under O-sensei, who created Aikido and all of that lot. He's Japanese himself. He's way into his 80s. He's great. And we had Sensei Donovan Wait as well, and we had Sensei Foster as well. And I could only do the first night because these kind of courses, particularly this one, it wasn't cheap. And also, still new to it, still a white belt, hadn't gone for my first grading at that point, although I was going for it shortly after that. And still learning the ropes, blah, blah, blah. And I remember this, and the best part is I've actually got this on film footage that I can look back on. And I remember there was one technique that, once you get it, it's as easy as anything, but it's a bit complicated to learn when you're still learning it. And I remember Sensei coming over and showing me how to do it, and he was just so patient. Because the weird thing is, at these sort of courses, we all wear white belts, but of course, he was so gifted, I think he could tell I was a white belt. And then afterwards, when that section of the evening had been over, I remember going over to him and, or I think my sensei may have introduced us. I think he did actually. He says, yeah, this is one of my newest students. And he said, yeah, that's right, I remember it now. And he said, yes, I came over and I was helping her with Kotekaish earlier on. And he was just so nice and that. And I remember asking him, bearing in mind I didn't know anything about his backstory. And well, I did know some things, but not all of it at the time. And I said to him, and it's literally stayed with you this entire time. And all of this, and he said something to me, which at the time stuck with me. And then it still horrifies me even now that I kind of forgot it. He actually quoted something to me, which really did stand out to me at the time, because it was a quote from a book that I have absolutely loved since I was a child, and I remember vividly. And I'll come to that, but I suppose that might already give you enough clue that that is the quote that I've actually got tattooed. And you'll see what I mean, but he was basically resonating that, yeah, once you start, you can't stop. It kind of, you will watch out, this will get seriously addicted. And already at that point, bearing in mind I started in February and this was mid-September, I already knew what he meant by that to a point and everything. And that. And then I unfortunately had to quit in the summer of 2012, and I remember when he came down, he always used to come down, funny enough, around this time of year, and that, and that first year, I think, I don't know why, I don't even know if it was 2012 or if it was 2013, I have a feeling, I think it might have been 2013, just for the fact that, I was really bad with this condition. Well, it actually even got worse from then on, actually, although it goes through swings and roundabouts, some days are better than others, but, anyway, Jesus, video's going to be long, sorry, and that, and I remember saying to him again, and I said, Sensei, I don't know why, I just feel awful, the fact that, I dedicated more than 4 years to this, and I feel like I just won't ever be able to come back to this, and it's like, I feel like I've let everyone down, let myself down, and all this sort. And he came and he said to me again, hey, sometimes, unfortunately, your body just has, sometimes you just have reasons why, and your body is telling you why. But once again, he quoted that quote to me again. And like I said, you'll understand when you hear the quote and that. But it was almost like he flipped it in association, like, to, and it related to me at that time as well, even though it was the complete opposite situation. And then I must have just forgotten about it. But of course, I've never forgotten about it, because it comes from a book that I know very well. So fast forward to 2021, we've had his funeral and all this lot, and I suddenly remembered it again, because I got that DVD out and I watched that technique, and it just came back to me in a flood, and I thought, oh my god, that's it. So I thought, yeah, so all I need to do is just get a simple martial art belt and this quote. And the reason why I came up with the open sort of black belt is because this was another thing that Sensei did that was quite, well, no, some people did it, but he was one of the few that, even though he has 7 black belts to his name, when he used to take off his hakuman, which is almost like a sort of a black oversized skirt that downgrades wear, and you could see his belt underneath that he wore to tie his jacket up, Sensei Wei always used to wear a white belt, even though he had 7 black belts to his name. And a few teachers I know do that. It's their way of showing, I might have 7 black belts to my name, but I'm still learning. I'm still a student at heart. So that's what made me think about not getting a solid black belt, maybe get a translucent belt. And also I thought it was more appropriate for the fact that I don't have a black belt in Aikido. I was only an Aikidoka, which is, Doka means Q grade or student. Doku is downgrade. And I only say it like that because we say Aiki because it's Aikido. If you were in another, another Japanese martial art, you would say Judoka or Judoku if you were in like, jiu-jitsu, for example, or judo, actually, and that. So yeah, oh god, I do seriously apologize that I've rambled on for so long, guys. I really hope this is not a problem, and I don't want to edit out how many times I've said sorry either. So anyway, so yeah, so when I had this idea, as you know, we were starting I think this, yeah, we were well into March by this. So we were slowly getting towards April 12th when tattoo studios and everything could open up and everything. And I'd already thought of the new studio that had opened in my town at the time. You would have seen the videos of it. It was Panic Inc. that changed to Penny Royal in the end. And I don't know why. I think maybe I was thinking I just don't particularly want to travel, you know, what with COVID and all of that lot. So I went and checked them out, and I saw one artist on there that I really liked the look of. I mean, I still love her clean black lines even now. But then I just found out that apparently she had moved from my studio back to their other studio that they were a chain until they separated and that. But when the studio told me, another one of their artists, Siobhan. Now we all know that name if you've watched my actual tattoo videos. They recommended her, and I went and looked at her profile, and yes, she did count herself as a junior artist. And I've just realized I'm not going to say this in detail because I said this also in my video. Yes, she's yeah, you could tell she's a junior artist because she at the time when I got this tattoo, she was actually a little bit on the slower side than I have been accustomed to. But she wasn't that slow. But she wasn't an apprentice either. She definitely was a full-grown artist, but she hadn't been doing it for years and years and years, if you know what I mean. And that. So, of course, I started corresponding with her, telling her what I wanted, blah, blah, blah. You know, we went through all of that via DM, Instagram, and all of that lot. And she said, well, as long as the April 12th penciling thing happens and all of that lot. So, you know, we got noticed that it did. And she got, and then, so I remember she managed to get me in quite quickly. She got me in on April 21st and all of that lot. You've seen the whole tattoo, you know it went well, etc., etc. And that. Also, at the same time, she did the touch-up for my poppy tattoo as well. Got some more red ink in there for me. And that. So, finally, we get to the quote on this. Like I said, this comes from one of my favourite books that I've read. And before you ask, I didn't realise this until 2 days before I actually went for the tattoo of what I also inadvertently did. I didn't even realise it until 2 days before. As you can see, I got it done in Elvish because I like getting them in unusual languages that look nice and people can't automatically read them. Although I do plan to get a tattoo that might have English maybe one of these days. Although I have got my YNWA on that and everything. But the quote that he quoted me, you know, from when he was first starting out, and then again when it looked like I literally had to give up Aikido, and how they meet in the middle. Once a martial artist, always a martial artist. And of course, if anyone knows Clive Staple Lewis, or C.S. Lewis, or Jack as he's known as, once a king and queen of Narnia, always a king and queen of Narnia. So, and of course, as you can tell, and I hope I'm not going to make anyone cry right now, because personally it almost makes me cry. So yes, you know, as I said, he was making out, you know, once you start, it stays with you and you can't stop. But even though you've had to give it up for a good reason, you always will be a martial artist. You might not be an active one, but it stays with you for life. And he was right. And so that's the reason why I don't like automatically calling this a memorial tattoo to Sensei Wade. I suppose in a way it kind of is, because it took his death and bringing me to that whole idea. But no, it seemed I had to wait for this time, and this was the right time to get this and that. So I think this is a commemoration of my martial art career, as well as being a tribute to one of the best martial art teachers that is or did touch this earth. So sorry for the half an hour video, guys, unless of course you absolutely love and adore these longer videos. Let me know. So take care, guys.